Ever notice how some folks just radiate it? They aren't always supermodels or CEOs, yet they command attention. Their secret? Not luck, not genetics, but a series of overlooked habits that subtly shape how others perceive them. It's time to uncover what truly makes you magnetic. 1. Bad posture, the silent confidence killer. Building on that idea of magnetism, let's tackle one of the most insidious yet overlooked culprits: bad posture. You know that person who enters a room and just owns it? Maybe they're not a Hollywood star, but they move with an undeniable presence, like they're walking onto their own stage. They exude an almost effortless confidence, head held high, shoulders relaxed but back. Think of a powerful CEO entering a boardroom, or even someone just confidently navigating the bustling streets of Manhattan. They simply carry themselves like they belong, even when exhausted. Now, let's be honest. Many of us are stuck in what I call the cowha, digital slump. Our shoulders are perpetually rounded, chins tucked, eyes glued to our smartphones. A posture that screams, "I'm making myself small." It's not just about looking tired. It's about physically diminishing your presence. Imagine trying to nail a job interview for a dream tech role in Silicon Valley, or trying to connect with someone interesting at a casual backyard barbecue, all while curled inward like a question mark. People unconsciously pick up on this. They might not articulate it, but they perceive you as less assertive, less engaged, even less capable. It's like you're literally slouching through opportunities. The hard truth? Your body speaks volumes before you even utter a word. It's the nonverbal resume you present to the world. Smart individuals understand this fundamental principle. They deliberately pull their shoulders back, lift their gaze, and allow themselves to occupy the space they're in. It's not about being arrogant. It's about projecting self-respect and readiness. It's a small adjustment that can dramatically alter how you're perceived, moving you from invisible to unmissable. Start acting like you deserve to be seen, because you do. 2. Poor hygiene, the unspoken barrier. While standing tall demands you be seen, projecting confidence with your posture, there's another, often more subtle, factor that can instantly erase your presence: poor hygiene. It's the unspoken rule, the non-negotiable, that most people observe, but few dare to address directly. You can have the sharpest suit or the most confident stance, but if your personal upkeep is lacking, you're building invisible walls. Think about it. Whether you're heading to a casual brunch, pitching an idea at work, or even just grabbing groceries, people unconsciously register how you present yourself. Too often, we brush off basic hygiene, thinking, "I just worked out, I'll shower later," or "These jeans are fine for another day." But in a culture that values cleanliness and a fresh appearance, these seemingly small oversights shout volumes. Unbrushed teeth aren't just a dental issue. They're a visual cue that can make people subtly recoil. Dirty fingernails or a pervasive body odor. It's not something a colleague will pull you aside to discuss, nor will it be mentioned on a dating app profile. Instead, people politely keep their distance. They shorten conversations. They might subconsciously avoid shaking your hand or standing too close in a crowded elevator. This isn't about vanity. It's about mutual respect. Maintaining basic hygiene signals that you care enough about yourself to put in the effort, and, crucially, that you respect the comfort of those around you. It acknowledges that your presence impacts others. When you neglect these fundamentals, you're inadvertently creating barriers to connection, to trust, to job opportunities, and even to simply making new friends at your local coffee shop. These aren't just personal problems. They ripple outwards, affecting how others engage with you, long before you even open your mouth to speak. It's a silent veto on your otherwise attractive qualities. 3. Constant complaining, the energy drain. If poor hygiene creates an unspoken barrier that keeps people at a distance, then constant complaining is an active, vocal barrier that practically pushes them away. You know the type. That friend who always seems to find something wrong, whether it's the never-ending traffic on the I-5 during rush hour, their Wi-Fi cutting out during their favorite Netflix binge, or the saga of their demanding boss. Every conversation eventually circles back to their list of grievances. They're the human equivalent of a constant bad news ticker, draining the energy from any room they enter. This isn't about healthy venting or sharing a genuine struggle. It's a chronic pattern of negativity that turns every minor inconvenience into a major catastrophe. People don't dramatically cut ties, but you'll notice the subtle shifts. Fewer invites to Friday night happy hour, shorter text message exchanges, and a general reluctance to engage in deeper conversation. It's exhausting to be around someone who weaponizes their discomfort. In stark contrast, consider the person who faces daily challenges, like a flat tire on the way to work or a project deadline looming, but approaches them with a problem-solving mindset, or at least a brief, appropriate vent before moving on. They don't dump their entire emotional load onto others. The result? People genuinely want to be around them. They're not necessarily Pollyannas, but they're not emotional black holes either. They build genuine rapport because they contribute positively to interactions rather than constantly subtracting from them. Ask anyone why their contact list shrinks or why texts go unanswered. And this energy vampire behavior is often a silent culprit. 4. Phone addiction. Missing real connections. Just as constant complaining can drain relationships and shrink your social circle, another pervasive modern habit quietly erodes genuine connection, being perpetually glued to your phone. Think about it. How many times have you been at a casual get-together, a dinner out with friends in your hometown, or even on a date, only to see someone's face perpetually illuminated by their phone screen? It's a scene played out daily across America, from coffee shops in Seattle to family dinners in suburban kitchens. Whether it's scrolling through Instagram Reels, catching up on TikTok trends, or just quickly checking an email, the unspoken message conveyed to the person across from you is clear. You are less important than whatever is on my phone. This isn't just a matter of etiquette. It's a profound barrier to forming meaningful bonds. When you're physically present but mentally miles away in your digital feed, you miss the subtle nuances of conversation, the shared laughter, and the opportunity to truly listen. People won't usually confront you directly, just like with an energy vampire. They'll simply start to disengage, stop initiating plans, or ensure their interactions with you remain frustratingly superficial. This adds another silent reason to that shrinking contact list, and the feeling that connections are harder to make than ever. In stark contrast, individuals who genuinely excel at building rapport understand the immense power of focused, undivided attention. They consciously put their device away, make direct eye contact, and actively engage in the moment. They make you feel like you're the only person in the room, asking thoughtful follow-up questions and offering their full presence. This isn't about being anti-tech. It's about choosing when and where to prioritize human interaction. While you're caught in the endless scroll, missing vital micro-moments, others are forging deeper, more authentic bonds, making people feel valued and genuinely remembered. The connections you truly crave won't be found on a screen, but in the real-world interactions you choose to prioritize. 5. Interrupting others. The conversation killer. We just talked about how prioritizing genuine interactions makes people feel valued and truly remembered. But there's another common behavior that actively undoes that very effort, making people feel dismissed and unheard. You know that person who just can't resist jumping in before you've even finished explaining your big plans for Memorial Day weekend or recounting a funny anecdote from work? They're already talking over you, often to tell their own better story. They're not really listening. They're just waiting for a pause, a breath, any opportunity to seize the floor. It's the ultimate conversation killer. This isn't just rude. It's a profound blocker to authentic connection. Every time you interrupt, you're subtly sending the message: what I have to say is more important than your thoughts. Think about a casual catch-up with a friend, where you're trying to share an experience, perhaps about a concert you just saw or a new restaurant you tried, and they cut you off mid-sentence with, "Oh, that reminds me of when I..." Suddenly, the conversation isn't about mutual exchange anymore. It's a competition for airtime, a performative monologue. Most Americans want to feel heard, understood, and respected, not lectured, one-upped, or constantly talked over. This habit is like a repellent, pushing away the very connections you claim to want. Highly attractive individuals, on the other hand, master the art of listening. They demonstrate genuine curiosity. They let you complete your thoughts, even if it takes a moment. They ask insightful follow-up questions that show they were truly engaged, like, "How did that make you feel?" Or, "What was your favorite part of that experience?" They understand that a real conversation is a two-way street, an exchange of ideas and emotions, not a battle for who gets to speak next. They create a safe, inviting space for others to share, recognizing that sometimes the most powerful contribution they can make isn't with their words, but with their thoughtful, attentive silence. When you consistently make space for others, you build trust and rapport, making people feel genuinely valued and eager to engage with you again. This behavior might seem trivial, but its impact is anything but. If you've ever wondered why people stop sharing details of their lives with you, or why conversations always feel superficial, look no further. The reason is usually simple. They stopped feeling heard. 6. Negative body language. The closed-off look. Following the thread of how we make others feel, we often overlook the most immediate signal we send: our body language. You know that person who, even across a crowded room, seems utterly unapproachable? Maybe they're standing with arms crossed like they're guarding Fort Knox, avoiding all eye contact, or sporting what some affectionately call resting judgment face. Their words might say nothing, but their stance screams, "Stay away!" A silent, powerful deterrent. This isn't about being intentionally rude. It's often a subconscious habit. Yet whether you're at a networking event in downtown Chicago, meeting friends at a local brewery, or even just waiting in line for your morning latte, these nonverbal cues create an invisible wall. When your shoulders are hunched, your gaze is fixed on the floor, or you're physically turned away, you're inadvertently sending a message that you're closed off, uninterested, or perhaps even defensive. People unconsciously register this. They might hesitate to strike up a conversation, assume you're having a bad day, or simply decide it's not worth the effort to break through that barrier. Think about it. Who would you rather approach at a casual backyard barbecue? The person scowling into their plate with crossed arms, or someone with an open posture, a relaxed demeanor, and a readiness for eye contact? This seemingly minor distinction drastically impacts your social and professional life. It determines if someone introduces themselves at a work conference, if a potential date feels comfortable enough to chat, or if new acquaintances feel invited into your circle. Open body language invites connection. Closed body language guarantees isolation, leaving you wondering why opportunities and friendships consistently pass you by. 7. Talking only about yourself. The narcissist tell. So you've managed to ditch the crossed arms and make eye contact, inviting people into your space. Great, but what happens when they actually start talking? Does every conversation eventually loop back to you, your latest triumph, or your recent drama? We've all encountered that person at a family gathering or a happy hour who asks, "How are you?" But their eyes glaze over before you finish, clearly just waiting for their turn to launch into their own monologue. It's like they're the main character in a sitcom, and everyone else is just a background extra in their personal highlight reel. This isn't just annoying, it's a social dead end. When you constantly steer the conversation back to yourself, your weekend at the lake, your new job, your amazing CrossFit routine, you're signaling to others that their experiences and feelings don't hold the same weight. People aren't looking for a captive audience. They're seeking genuine connection and reciprocity. Think about it. After a long day, whether you're at a barbecue in Austin or grabbing a slice in Brooklyn, nobody wants to feel like they're just there to prop up someone else's ego. They want to be heard, to share, and to feel like their presence matters. Those who truly connect ask thoughtful questions, remember small details you mentioned weeks ago, and actively listen, creating a space where others feel valued. They build bridges, not pedestals. 8. Poor fashion choices, dressing like you've given up. Just as valuing others through genuine conversation builds strong bonds, how we present ourselves physically also sends powerful, non-verbal messages. Imagine you've just spent time making someone feel truly heard and valued, but your outfit quietly contradicts that effort, signaling a deeper indifference. This is the subtle sabotage of poor fashion choices. It's not about designer labels or keeping up with the latest trends. It's about respect for yourself and for those you interact with. Too many people fall into the habit of dressing like they've simply stopped caring. Think about it. The faded college t-shirt from 2010 with an unknown stain, worn to a casual dinner, or the sweatpants, perfectly acceptable for a Netflix binge at home, now making their 4th public appearance this week, including a trip to the grocery store and a friend's backyard barbecue. Clothes that are ill-fitting, wrinkled, or visibly worn out communicate resignation, not comfort. When your outfit screams, "I just grabbed whatever was clean," it implies a lack of self-worth. In American culture, while we value comfort and practicality, there's a distinct line where casual crosses into communicating apathy. This isn't about being perfectly polished, it's about intentionality. What message are you sending when your attire suggests you didn't even bother to consider the impression you're making? Others pick up on these cues. If you don't appear to value yourself enough to make a minimal effort, why should anyone else invest their time or energy into connecting with you? It creates an unnecessary barrier, silently telling people you've thrown in the towel before they even have a chance to engage. 9. Being unreliable. Breaking trust and connections. Following on from how we present ourselves, consider the subtle but devastating impact of unreliability. It's one thing to occasionally miss a deadline or forget a minor commitment. It's another entirely to develop a reputation as someone who consistently says one thing and does another. You know the type. The friend who flakes on brunch plans last minute. The colleague who promises to send that important document but never does. Or the person who ghosts on a group project, leaving others in a lurch. This isn't about being busy. It's about a pattern of disregard for others, time, and expectations. In American culture, keeping your word, showing up when you say you will, and following through on commitments are cornerstones of respect and trust. When you consistently cancel plans, make empty promises, or simply vanish from a conversation, you're not just being inconvenient. You're subtly communicating that your word holds little value and, by extension, that you don't fully respect the people you interact with. The consequence? People stop counting on you. Your social invitations dwindle, professional opportunities dry up, and genuine connections become harder to forge. Friends might stop asking you to join the fantasy football league, and colleagues might avoid partnering with you on critical assignments. Unlike a bad outfit, unreliability chips away at the very foundation of your relationships, leaving you isolated as people gravitate towards those who demonstrate consistency and integrity. Understanding this impact is the first step toward rebuilding that trust and becoming someone others can confidently rely on. 10. Having zero passions. The boring person default. Just as unreliability erodes trust, a lack of personal depth can make you the person everyone politely avoids. We all know that individual who, when asked about their passions, might shrug and say, "Just catching up on Yellowstone," or endlessly scrolling through TikTok. It's not that they're too busy. Often, they simply haven't bothered to explore anything beyond passive consumption. They haven't chased a curiosity, learned a new skill, or cultivated a genuine interest. This lack of engagement leaves them, quite frankly, boring and utterly confused why their social life feels stagnant. When conversations consistently hit a wall, dates go nowhere, and friendships remain stuck at surface level, it's often because there's nothing substantial to discuss or share. Think about it. People connect over shared experiences, genuine curiosity, and the excitement of learning. Someone who can recount a challenging hike in a national park, the frustration and triumph of a DIY home project, or even the latest debates in their fantasy football league naturally draws others in. While some spend their evenings mindlessly streaming, interesting individuals are building layers to themselves, exploring local art scenes, mastering a new recipe, or volunteering at the animal shelter. It's not about having exotic hobbies. It's about actively participating in life beyond your comfort zone. This fundamental difference in how hours are utilized doesn't just pass the time. It builds connection. 11. Attractiveness is behavioral. The unattractive truth. We just talked about how actively developing interests and passions builds layers to your personality, leading to more engaging conversations and fostering genuine connections. This naturally leads us to a fundamental, often uncomfortable truth about allure. What truly makes someone attractive extends far beyond their looks. For too long, society has fed us a narrative that attractiveness is primarily genetic, a lottery you either win or lose. We see magazine covers and Hollywood films suggesting it's all about a perfect jawline or a certain physique. But here's the game changer nobody wants to admit. Attractiveness is overwhelmingly behavioral. If it were solely about physical appearance, then countless individuals who don't fit conventional beauty standards wouldn't find deep friendships, loving partners, or respected positions in their communities. Yet they do, every single day across America. The fact that attractiveness is rooted in habits is incredibly empowering because it means everyone has a shot, regardless of their genetic hand. While a striking appearance might offer an initial advantage, like a fast start in a race, it's consistent, positive behaviors that truly captivate and retain connections in the long run. Think of it like this. Genetic good looks might open a door, but respectful listening, genuine engagement, reliability, and self-care are what build a home people want to visit and stay in. You won't see dramatic overnight transformations, like a blockbuster movie montage where you suddenly become a different person. Instead, steadily, almost imperceptibly, the shift happens. One day, you look around and notice people engaging with you differently, more openly, more respectfully. It's not because you underwent extreme cosmetic changes. It's because you consistently addressed those small, often overlooked, unattractive behaviors. The real secret isn't just doing attractive things. It's consciously, times stopping times the habits that subtly repel others, one deliberate choice at a time. The real transformation isn't about wishing for charisma. It's about actively eliminating the subtle habits that build invisible walls between you and others. If this journey illuminated areas where you've been inadvertently dimming your own light, that's powerful. Commit to one small shift today. Hit that like button if you're ready to embrace genuine self-awareness, and subscribe to build a more magnetic you.